Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and our online interview series, a new edition. And we want to talk to Kutcho Copper, and Vince Sorace, the CEO, is here with us. Vince, good morning to Canada. How are you?
Good morning, Jochen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. It was just a little bit of a while since we talked, and I hope you had a good summer so far. But it looks to me like something is going on in the copper markets. And I mean, you have a wonderful development project where you had already a great feasibility study. So, of course, just wanted to know what's going on with the project, on what are you working?
Sure. We haven't we haven't put out a lot of news lately. But we will be, I'd say, within the coming 4 weeks or so. Giving our investors an update to what we've been working on, and primarily that's been a lot of effort put towards advancing the project through the permitting process. We've made very good progress with wrapping up data collection, moving into the EA process, especially with our First Nation partners. All of that is going very well, and that's very important moving forward with the project. And another, I guess, where we're spending a lot of our time right now, and this is a result of, you may have seen, we hired Mr. Andrew Sharp as our new CEO, and Andrew is
COO, right?
COO, yes.
Yeah.
And Andrew has a long history of mine building, mine operations. He's been exceptional for us, even in his short tenure so far. He is, I would suggest, one of the best in the industry out there with respect to his experience in doing this. And Andrew has done a fantastic job even so far as we go through the more, I guess, practical aspects of the project since our feasibility study, with respect to refining what this is going to look like when we build it. And I would say, and this is, we will update the market on this, we have already found some pretty significant areas of improvement with respect to costs, capital, how to make the project more efficient from that perspective. It's a little different when you finally have like an in-house team versus consultants that do feasibility studies and stuff. So no, I think we're going to be able to show the market some pretty significant changes especially with respect to capital on the project. That's our goal as we move through this process. So lots of work going on in the background with respect to moving this project forward to a production decision. None of that's changed. I'm confident. We've got a fantastic project on our hands, and I do believe that this will be a mine. This will be something that turns into a mine.
Fantastic. Okay, so we are waiting for your news release on that. But on the other hand, question about, I mean, inflation is everywhere. We see it in the news. We feel it in our wallets, of course, when we go for grocery shopping. How do you see maybe affected this, the data of the feasibility study, maybe also the data for CapEx and OpEx?
When we did our feasibility study, we were at a prime time within the inflation factor already. So one thing that people need to remember is that our pricing in the feasibility study had accounted for a lot of these inflationary factors already. We'd seen that already in a lot of the materials that we were pricing into our feasibility study. I would suggest that since then, maybe gas prices, we're primarily LNG at our project as far as generation goes. So gas prices have gone a little bit higher since then, but we are not too far off the mark with respect to inflationary prices already built into our project. And we do believe, and I think most people believe, at some point inflation will subside. Ultimately, I think when it does, I think we'll be in more likely a better position, than today. So yes, it's important for people to realize that when we did do our feasibility study, a lot of those inflationary prices are in there.
Okay, super. Well, that sounds fantastic because a lot of projects have not, and they might be hit heavily. But
Yes.
okay, that's fantastic. Talking about copper markets, I mean, the copper market is something which is really of high interest for you because you want to be a copper producer in the future. So, what's your view, let's say, on supply-demand imbalances? How do you see the real physical, let's call it, threat for the markets in the future? I've seen a lot of Bloomberg data collection last week, and that all looks really hefty. So my own proposition for the copper price is like $7 to $8 now for the next years.
Sure. I mean, listen, it's the rhetoric, the articles, the data, everything that we see out in the market, from the banks right down to, and I have a lot of communication with the traders out in the market, from the Trafiguras to those types, and it is very, very consistent with respect to the mindset that yes, we are seeing it already, and we're going to continue to see supply side disruption, supply side shortages, and not only because of depleting supplies that are happening out there, but the double effect is the demand is going to continue to increase through all the markets, through the renewables markets, through the EV markets, through all of this is putting pressure on the supply side because of the demand, and again, as we said, depleting supply side. So the outlook in the coming number of years is fantastic for copper. We're going to get there. I mean, you look at copper today, still trading around 350, 360 amidst absolutely horrible rhetoric with interest rates, with all this rhetoric going on with respect to forecasted recessions. Any other time when this happened, and copper would be trading at about maybe $2 or $2.20 a pound, and here we are, very, very resilient at 350 or 360. Yeah. So as soon as I guess two things here, especially sentiment changes around what we're seeing out of the market with respect to these inflationary factors and potential recession. I mean, you're going to see a very, I think, quick rebound in trade in copper back up to where we saw, maybe $4.55 pretty quickly. So it's it's a very strong, I guess, future for copper, would be the way to say it.
Absolutely. And you want to benefit, of course, with a producing copper mine in the future from that. So what do you think, like 4 years from here, is that realistic that you might be online?
I think that's very realistic. Yes, I do. And, there's going to be significant milestones that occur. People shouldn't think, well, we have to wait 4 years. Well, that's not typically how it happens. 4 years to production is one thing, but as we go through these next, I guess, very significant milestones, as we get to that point, typically companies get re-rated and their multiples get better as you get closer to production. So, Kutcho, I think, is trading exceptionally cheap right now for the opportunity here. And, I think once we firm up and we're on that path, EA, First Nations agreements, again, we continue to refine what this project will look like from a cost perspective and the benefits of that. And we get closer to that, that end point of permitting, there should be a significant re-rate on the share price.
Definitely. We see it the same way. Vince, thank you very much for the short update. Yeah, we look forward then to your next news, which should show us then that you guys are on the right path. Yeah, I would say keep it going. Keep us informed, please. And great project you have. And you're definitely right. I see it the same way. Your stock is really heavily undervalued. That is for sure. All right. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joachim.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Vince Sorace, the CEO of Kutcho Copper, and you heard it. Things are going well. They are coming with news the next 4, maybe 6 weeks, and things are going, as he said, in the background. They are working on a lot of stuff, yeah, to move and to develop this project further. They have done the feasibility. It looks very favorable. They have big partners already on board, and now a little bit of the fine work has to be done, of course. And yeah, we look forward to the news. You should really check out Kutcho Copper, because we also see that the stock is really cheap. And of course, I'm also a shareholder of the company. So thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.